So in this new segment, I will be talking about different filaments that I use, different filaments that I try out, let you know my experience with it and what I think of it. Today, for the first episode, I am going to be talking about XPERLAND filament. So XPERLAND is a new company that just came out this year, and they just released a new filament. They first started off with a black and a white filament, and now, as of recent, they have just come out with a few different colors and a wood fill. So I did a couple different tests. The first tests that I did were practical prints, and the practical prints are different things that I would be using personally in my shop for case modding or for a printer part. The second thing that I have printed were little art pieces, sculptures, things of that sort. So the printer that I printed this on was a CR10. It does have a few mods on it that I did to it. It has an MKS 1.4 in it, or 1.5, pardon me. It also has a E3DV6 hot end with a copper heat sink, or a copper heat block. I'm going to talk about when I first received the filament. It came very quickly. Amazon fulfilled the order. The box looks pretty nice. I don't really care about what it looks, but it does actually give you the tolerance, and it gives you the information on the back about the filament, which is very, very good to have. When I first opened the box, the spool was tangled. It was tangled. I ended up untangling it. I inspected it as I was untangling it, and a lot of the filament was actually bent. So I had to cut a big, big strand off of that. I did contact XPERLAND, and I did tell them, and they did offer to correct the issue. The price point is very nice for the filament. I got it on a deal, $14 at the time upon first release of it. They just started, and that's what happens. You never know. So that's just something to learn from. And XPERLAND, if you're watching this, that is definitely something to look out for during your quality control. And I know you guys take your quality control very seriously, as many companies do. So that is definitely something to look out for, and definitely something to keep an eye on. That brings me to putting it through the printer. At this point, this is when I had my Titan Aero on my CR10. The Titan Aero did not want to cooperate with the filament. It kept grinding it, it kept splitting it, it kept snapping it, whatever it wanted to do, it did not want to feed it. I have no explanation. Then I went back to a Bowden system, and I put the V6 on it, threw the XPERLAND filament right into there, and it printed. So now I just want to show you what I have printed. Alright, so here we have the mount for a Lulzbot Taz. I printed this at 200 degrees. Doesn't have any warping. It had no stringing when it came off. The print just turned out really, really nice. I'm very, very happy with this print. Okay, up next I have printed the Prusa, the original i3 Prusa 3mm extruder. You can see that matte finish that I was talking about. It is a lot lighter, a lot more of a gray. The cuts are very clean, and everything fits together perfectly. The dimensional values are really nice. The lines are clean. The overhangs came out perfectly. And I was very, very surprised how perfect they came out for how gooey the first layer was. I'm not sure if you can tell, but that was from the first layer. So when we get to the bottom of this, you can see that there are 3 holes. 4 holes, actually. There are 2 for the screws that go through, 1 for the filament path, and the other for the hot end to sit. These holes came out very nicely. Bridging, the overhang came out wonderfully on this, and I'm very happy with this print. And I really want to use this extruder for some reason. Alright, I did do a couple more prints, but this is the last practical print I'm going to show you, and these are cable combs for computers. So I did put these and test these on some cables, and the cable snapped in very nicely. The print turned out alright. I should have added a couple more top layers to it, but that is just a learning experience for me. Alright, so this is the Bat Buddha. This is one of my favorite prints. I love this print. It came out really nice with the 0.6mm Olsen Ruby. It printed out the details very, very well. You can see all the little wrinkles, all the little ornate patterns in the robe. Now when I get up to the top where the head was, I didn't notice in the STL file that there's a hole around his neck. His neck is not solid. It printed that hollow neck, it printed that head right on top of there, and you can't pop that thing off if you hit it with a sledgehammer. His hands, the details in the robe, his chin did fine. The side of his head did not do too well though. And the tip of his ears, or his horns. Now I should have printed at a slower print speed when it got up to the top, so I did a little bit of printing for some arrowheads that belong to the Green Arrow. With the circular ones, I did exceptionally well. With the one all the way to the right that is more triangular, it did not do as hot. It definitely had some issues on the inside. I did print the overhangs very well. There are some parts in here, those little fins at the bottom, that actually have a space in between the cylindrical part and that. The tip came out very nicely. The only thing that I'm worried about is the quality of the print. It doesn't seem to have the best print quality with this one. Alright, there's one more thing that I'd like to show you. And I started printing some rings. So as this ring is definitely not perfect, it did turn out as expected. The supports wanted to stay. They did not want to come out. So I had to smash it. This definitely wouldn't be a piece that you would want to turn into a mold and cast. So I couldn't just print one of them. I had to print a couple. And by a couple, I mean a few. Because I wanted to finish one. I was very surprised when I started sanding this thing, how well it took to the sandpaper. I'm doing this pretty much just to show you what different filament is out there. You can make up your own mind on it. I have no affiliation with XPERLAND. I will have a link down in the description if you do want to go check their filament out. Again, not an affiliate link. This is just strictly to help you guys out. This is just strictly my findings and my opinions. So I'm not going to tell you right or wrong. I'm not going to tell you if it's good or bad. I want you to make up your mind from what you see. So once again, everybody, thank you for coming and watching. And I hope you all have a safe, happy, and fun night. Goodbye, everybody.